Hello everyone, welcome to House of Chi Yoga and welcome back to your next HIIT workout. We're going to play with bands today. I have 3 different bands, different resistance, just so I can start with a lighter one and then move it up gradually to a heavier band. Depending on if you're warmed up, you're ready to go, you can just move on with the heavier band. I'll leave that up to you. I do want to do a quick warm up because over here it is morning and I have not been moving yet. So I'm going to take a wide straddle and just start rolling heel to toe. We're going to get right into it today because I got a full day. Inhale, palms rise. Exhale, bend the knees soft and go into a fold. Inhale, bend the knees. Inhale, rise. Exhale, bend the knees. Nice and soft. Forward fold. Let's go one more. Inhale, lift. Exhale, fold. Once you're there, maybe you combined. Maybe you take opposite elbow and just start leaning right to left. Check in with the feet, the toes. Get the feet activated, the ankles. Now we'll go over to one side. Walk it forward to plank all the way across the mat to the other. And hands up and off the floor. Let's do that a few times. You're waking up your core, you're waking up the shoulders, waking up the back body. Let's go one more. And this time we're going to walk it to a wide plank and then step across the mat. It's a big step. You're on the balls of the feet, on the toes, being a little bouncy. You can start picking up the pace. Then we'll walk the feet to hips distance, lower the knees, and untuck the toes. Add some rolling through the spine here. Ooh, focus on the breathing. Also, apologies, I wore a t-shirt today, not thinking about my microphone. So hopefully that doesn't get too messed up. And then landing on the way back, sinking down into the hips, adding some movement here to shake the hips out. Unrolling halfway, peace fingers to the hip flexors, press it up, squeeze your glutes and sink it back. It is a heavy glute workout today. And we are also only doing 5 exercises instead of 6. So it won't last quite as long. It won't be quite as fatiguing. I take that back. It's still probably going to be fatiguing. Bands are deceivingly hard. And then from there, bring the knees together. Just use your hands to push the hips up, the hips forward and the chest up. And you can also bring the elbows back and together. Lift and lower through the chin in a neutral spine. And then we'll take the arms out wide and add some rolling through the shoulder. Be intentional about your core crunching here and the back body working. And then we're going to step it up to a standing position. Doesn't matter which foot first. Add a couple squats. And take it all the way back down with the same foot. Now switch to the opposite side foot. Few squats. And all the way rise. Take a nice side bend right to left. And that feels pretty good. I feel like I'm ready to start moving more intensely. So let me show you the movements. First one, I'm going to use my easier band. Ooh, actually that does not feel easy at all. So I'm just going to go ahead and go right into it. That one feels like a little child's bend. Okay, the first one is a lunge touchdown. I want to make sure when I'm touching down, I'm keeping my feet to hips distance and I'm not letting them cross over because we also have a crossover curtsy move in this workout. So make sure you're just stepping back. If you want to stick with alternating lunges here, you can stay here. I'm going to add a little hop where I hop, step back, hop, step back. That's going to add a little bit more work to the outside of the leg. Whoops, see, I just stepped back to curtsy. So I'm going to have to really look in the mirror and focus to make sure that I'm lining my feet up with my hips and I'm not letting it cross into a curtsy. So 40 seconds there, and then we're doing a push-up to catch. We're going to step it back, push up, catch in your squat. I always like a malasana squat, and I hold, step it back, push up, catch in your squat. You're being explosive on the way forward to your catch. I prefer you to step back and not hop back. We don't want any extra pressure on the low back there, unless you can make sure you keep your hips high and the core tight, and you're not hurting the low back. Otherwise, you can hop forward and just take a step back to reset. Next one is a deadlift. This one's super fun with a band. I might have to switch to my pink one. So I hope you can see I'm going to step one foot, and then the other foot is going to go pretty near, and I'm just going to spread the band out. Now the band is nice and thin underneath my feet, and I have more slack on top. So if you are struggling with, oh, your band's too small, it's too tight, do that. Keep the space underneath your feet small and keep the space above the feet nice and slack. I'm going to turn to the side for this one. And you can also keep the knees bent here, so you can kind of eliminate the range of distance from the floor to your hips. So notice my back is rounded here. This is not where we want to be. We want abs in, back engaged, hips are moving. I immediately felt my glutes fire up. Hips are moving front to back. My upper body is not doing anything except for holding still. I'm pushing my feet into the floor. I'm moving my hips front to back, elongating the hamstring around the butt muscle, and then I'm getting my nice deadlift. Remember, if you need to bend the knees, you can just stay in this little in and out, not fully down, not fully extended to the top, which is actually usually harder because you're staying in that work zone and you're not going all the way to the bottom for a rest. Next one, we'll take it to the arms, and you're gonna place the band at the wrist. Make sure the hands are really strong. You're not caving the wrist, but you're trying to keep the hand and wrist, elbow, shoulder all in one line as you lift, and then you're gonna lat pull down. On the way up, you exhale and crunch. From the side, lat pull down, exhale, squeeze. It's just to activate the core, make sure everything's tight, but I want you to take the time to make sure you're squeezing, almost like you're going into a hollow hold, and then focusing on that lat pull. Making sure that when you're doing the lat pull, you are focusing on the lats to bring the arms down. You're not using the traps, not using necessarily the arms. You're focused on that squeeze down through the side of the lat. Next one is going to be our curtsy. That's our last one. So now we do step across, and you can go curtsy, lateral lift here if you want balance. You can hold a squeeze, a hold at the top. That's really going to work the glute. Oh, I just realized my butt is so sore. I was doing these yesterday, so this one's going to work well. The other option is hand on the thigh. You can hold the wall. You can hold a chair. Like I always say, if you have a small child, you can hold a small child there. I think that's funny. Most people probably don't. You can also put your hands on the ground and focus on the legs here. Just being aware that if you're on the ground, you don't want the legs too long. You want to sink into your squat each time so you can focus on the legs and not stay too high, round, and feel too much work in the back body. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and keep this pink band on. This feels like the easiest one for now. And we're going to go ahead and start our timer. Oh, this is always the most challenging part. Probably should charge my timer here pretty soon. Okay, let's get this started. Play? Nope, just kidding. Let me just reset this here. Feel free to do more warm-ups. Feel free to practice any movements. Ooh, I got it. All right, starting in 5 seconds. So remember, we're doing 4 rounds, but we only have 5 exercises. The first round is just more of feel the movements, find them, see how it feels in your body. This first one is the lunge, making sure you are not crossing over to a curtsy. So I'm adding the hop. You don't have to. You could just stay on your mat and step straight back. Making sure that as you go into your lunge, you're not rounding here, similar to the deadlift. Our upper body is nice and strong. You can even not touch the floor and just keep the chest up here. Whatever feels like it's going to give you the most success. We don't want funky movements. We want to focus on the glutes, the thighs. Hiya! Kind of lost my hop here. I'm moving more of a step, but that's okay for round 1. Whew. So also paying attention to, as you step, making sure the knees are going out, not curling in ever, never curling out. Okay, we're going into our push-up. 5 seconds. This is the push-up to catch squat. You can catch in any squat you like. I'm doing nice slow push-ups and explosive movements to the top. Something that helps me find a push-up is thinking about squeezing the scaps together and then pressing the scaps away from each other as I lift my body. A lot of shoulder. Keep breathing. Remember to step back. Unless you're doing legs off the floor push-ups, it might make it easier to hop, but you need to make sure you're not dropping the hips low there. You're keeping the core active and tight. One more push-up. Woo, round 1. Gotta get the body warmed up. Now we're moving to deadlift, so quickly take the band, set it to the feet. Remember, if you need more slack on the top, you go ahead and spread the band out with the feet here. Gives me a lot more space at the top. Lock into your core. This one is pretty deceiving. You're like, oh, just a band, no heavy weight. I can move quickly. And then the next day, your butt and hamstrings are on fire. So take this one with a grain of salt. Go at your own pace, but make sure you can make it through all 4 rounds successfully. Squeeze your butt cheeks together. Push the floor away from you through the feet. Checking in with the back body. The back is working, but the focus is on the glutes and the hammies. No rounding in the shoulders. The chest is nice and open and broad. And moving the hips front to back. I love doing deadlifts with the band because it's really hard for me to focus on correct form when I have a bar, when I have heavy weight. But with the band, I'm not risking much because I'm not using heavy weight, and I can really focus on using the correct muscle. Okay, lat pull. Rib cage is super active. Remember, as we pull down, ribs are in already, but then we lift, we go even farther, we hollow into a crunch. If you start feeling your trap muscles working too much, close your eyes, find your lat muscles. It's important to focus on the drive down through the lats. I tend to always go to my traps, which is no fun. I have huge traps. I need to work more lat muscle. Let's hit a few more. Make sure the abs are working. This is technically your crunch position as well. So you need to keep the abs tight the whole time. 3, 2, 1. This position is also really great just to open up the chest. So as you're squeezing down, we're not necessarily expanding across the chest, but you can feel a little bit of expansion there. Feels great. Okay, last one for round 1. We're moving into our curtsy. Now the legs are going behind. I'm gonna do a standing move. I'm gonna work more on balance. So as I step across, I'm gonna come up to a stand and hold. And you can choose to go one leg or the other. I'm just gonna alternate, I might as well. I already have that leg extended. But if you want more work on one side, you can stay on one side. Woo, balancing is real this morning. Squeeze. Use your abdominals. Don't drop the chest on the way down. You want a nice squat, chest up, weight to your butt. Definitely gonna need a heavier band for this exercise next time, because we got some strong glutes. One more. Hold and release. 20 seconds, we're moving on. Always feel free when we get to the end of round, whichever round, feel free to pause it and rest for a whole minute. No more than a minute. You don't want to take too much time, but if you need a little bit extra time, feel free to. We've got 3 seconds. Oh geez, touchdown lunge. So now I'm transitioning to that touchdown at hips distance. I'm gonna try to stick with my hop this time and not get lazy and move to a step. The bigger push if you're adding the hop, you're going from the floor up into the air. If you have a mirror in front of you, awesome. Keep an eye on the knees, make sure they're not crossing over. It's a lot of flat back and sinking into squat movements today. Check in with your core. Check in with the spine. Chest is always open and up, not rounded. Oh yeah, I feel it. That's a nice little cardio burn. Push up to our squat catch. Focusing on the squeeze through the scaps and the press through the scaps. I'm gonna take my hands a little wider this time. It's the end of the week over here. My shoulders are a little bit tight. Let's go. Catch. Making sure you're bringing the hands off the floor. Keeping the breath going, especially if that heart rate is going up. Maybe you can go all the way down to the floor. I think we've got a couple more. My arms are getting tired. 1, catch, and moving on to deadlifts. So now you've felt that first round of deadlifts. Hopefully you can tell how fast, how hard you can go throughout each round to make it through to the end. We got 3 seconds. Let's set it up. Abs active, core tight, shoulders back, chest is open, moving the hips front to back. You should feel the glutes working. It's almost like a little rotation through the glute muscles to the hip. That's allowing my hips to move back. And then I squeeze it all to midline as I come forward. And if you're like me, you like to be nice and light on the feet, it's really important to think about grounding, pushing the floor away from you the whole time. I have huge arches in my feet. So whenever I do any of these kind of exercises, I have to focus on planting down, staying really heavy in the feet. Yeah. Okay, we're moving on to the lat pull. These rounds are going by fast. No caving in the wrist here. You want palm, wrist, elbow all in one line, nice and strong. No letting this happen. Lifting, already starting to work through the core muscles. I'll go to the side, abs are in, lat pull, ab squeeze. I'm going back behind my head here. Depends on your mobility. Ooh, there's a bug. Depends on your mobility and also how open the front of the chest, the pecs are, and the front of the shoulder girdle there. So you may not be able to go back and behind, that's okay. You may not want to use the band at all. We don't want to put too much work on the shoulder. So you can also just release the band and squeeze for your own resistance. This is round 2 now. You should be able to feel if you're using your traps. If your traps are getting really tired, you got to redirect that move to the lats. I think I got about one more. Yep. If you aren't aware, your traps are here. So if you feel like this is all lifting up towards your ears and those are getting tired, reset, let go of the band, really focus on the lats, which are underneath the armpit. We got 10 seconds and I'm moving on to lateral lift. I'm gonna grab a little bit heavier of a band here. I'm going for the gray one. Hutches. There we go. I'm gonna do the same thing, nice slow lift. I like that intentional squeeze. Like the other moves were getting me plenty of cardio, so I'm gonna focus on the stability, the little grounding, balancing, stabilizing muscles, and that extra squeeze to finish off the glutes here. Abs are in, everything's connected. Stay strong through the whole body. Nothing is going limp or holding energetically. Staying strong so there's no wobbling. Saying that as I wobble. Oh, my glutes are on fire. I'm gonna get one more. Excelente. That was round 2. I was gonna take my shirt off and move my mic, but I don't think there's time. We've only got 10 seconds left. That's okay. Sorry if it's scratchy. Okay, 5 seconds. Where are we at? Oh, geez, I feel my glutes already. Go into your touchdown. Add your hop. If you haven't tried a hop yet, go ahead and throw it in. You can start with just a step. Make sure you're not stepping across midline. Feet are landing hips distance. Notice I'm not rounding. I'm bending into the legs. I want the legs working here. I want that push coming up from the lunge position. We got a few more, 10 seconds. See if I can pick up the pace. Don't cross the midline, chi. Keep the knees open. One more. Oh my gosh. This is a glute burner this morning. Moving on to our push-ups. 5 seconds. I got a fly friend in here buzzing around. All right, let's go. This is another chance to get some good cardio here if you're looking for that. You can just move faster. You can do smaller push-ups, more hopping front to back. You want more arm work, you go all the way down to the floor and up, which I might finish these last 2 rounds with. I don't challenge myself in push-ups very often. Almost there. 2, catch, and moving on. Deadlifts. We have 2 more rounds of deadlifts. Make sure you're getting your work in here. You're focusing on alignment. You're focusing on grounding. If you feel like, hey, I need more work in my glutes, grab a tighter band. Give yourself less space on the bottom. I always like starting at the top for this one. It allows me to make sure my chest is open, my back muscles, my lats are all engaged, pulling back and away, and then I can move from there. If you're starting at the bottom, you can't quite reset the shoulders. I'm gonna pick it up. It is round 3. We only have one more set after this. Notice what you're feeling. Are you feeling it in your glute muscles? Are you feeling it in the hamstrings? You can also make sure that the arms are staying close to the body by just tapping. You see I tap my knee, so I make sure my low leg is staying still, and my arm touches my knee every time I go through. That ensures that my body is not leaning too far forward. I'm just sliding straight down, straight up. Okay, back to our lat pull. Remember, if at this point you're feeling those traps working too much, get rid of the band. Woo, focus on the ab squeeze. You can also just hold at the top and focus on that squeeze. I'm checking with my mic here. You gotta remember that I always have to wear a mic. I need clothes appropriate. Keep the shoulders down. Think about the side body even here. Grounding, I'm working on planting my feet and stabilizing. All helps keep the body stable. Yeah, I feel my back muscles working. Got a few more. Keep the hands active, don't let the hands fall. I was feeling that in my forearms. We got one more for this round. Moving on to my heavier band. Adding it right to left if you want a little bit more coordination work as well here. Let's go. I'm going before the buzzer. Woo. Hold and squeeze. Hold and squeeze. Find the lateral glute. Always helps if you just touch it. It helps bring the focus there. Make sure you're not losing your core. You're staying active in your ab muscles. You can also hold there. I am a huge fan of touching your body. It allows you to find where the work is supposed to be happening, especially if you're new to things like yoga, body movement, bands. It's sometimes really hard to figure that out if you're not familiar with working with your body. So step 1, find the muscle. Step 2, use the muscle. We got one more full set. Shake it off, whatever you need. My glutes are getting real tired. 10 seconds. One more set of lunges. Abs are strong. Step, lunge back. I'm just going to be more intentional since I'm getting tired with my knees driving out wide. I want to really make sure I'm not folding in. Keeping the abs strong. Knees are almost going to a 90 here. If they do go to a 90, that's awesome. That's a deep lunge. I'm also, to get to that 90, I'm not stepping super wide from top to bottom of my mat. I'm keeping a pretty narrow stance, and that's allowing me to go a lot deeper. And it's not risking the back body. 1. Okay. Moving on to our push-ups. I'm going to take one more round going all the way to the bottom. 5 seconds. Set it up. Let's go. Oh, it makes it infinitely harder doing a real push-up, going all the way down. I haven't done one of those for a while. Check in with your body. Are you breathing? Are you staying active? Are you releasing your core or keeping it tight in a crunch here? So important to keep the abdominal structure in here to make sure we're not crunching, putting pressure on the back. Hiya, catch. I am officially dripping sweat. Let's move on to our deadlifts. Last set, deadlifts. Okay, this is the one where you can give it all you got. I did say they are deceiving, so check in with yourself. But also make sure you're working on this round. Chest open, nice long back, abs in, shifting the hips front to back. Remember, you can use that little cue of hand tap to knee just to make sure you're staying close to the body. Hiya, my shoulders were rounding in. I'm gonna lift a little bit more to my chest, almost as if you were pulling the shoulder back behind you, making sure that you're not releasing to this round every time. We're not trying to work the arms here. We're keeping the arms active and still. Pushing through, let's pick up the pace. Ooh, ground through the feet, my feet were sliding. One, hiya. Happy to be done with deadlifts. We got one more lat pull. Okay, if you took some breaks with the band because you were feeling the traps, maybe give it one more go with the band, see how it feels now. Now that you've got a little rest. If you've been doing it with the band the whole time, awesome for you. I hope your lats are on fire tomorrow. Lats, serratus anterior, all those intercostal muscles too we're working here. This is also just such a great mobility work, such a great move for mobility work through the shoulders and through the chest. Oh, fly friend, I wish you would leave me alone. We're so close. Squeeze, my fly was making me lose my focus. 2, 1, get out of here. We got one more exercise. Moving on to the harder band for our last 40 seconds of work. 5. If you haven't tried the hopping yet, try the hopping. I'm gonna keep up with a steady pace here. Try to give it my all on this last go. Use your breath, use the exhales to lift. You can even make it a little bit more explosive as if you were going into a side kick. I'm gonna do that because I love martial arts and I don't get to practice all of the ones I want to practice. So I incorporate things like this. Hi, that was burning. Squeeze into your core. Last one. Hiya, hold and release. Butt cheeks on fire. That was excellent. Good work today. It wasn't too much abdominal work. Of course, the whole time you're exercising, you're supposed to be engaging your abs. So throughout all the exercises, your core is getting work. You're getting that deep stability work. But I also have an ab focus video. So if you feel like, yeah, I need some more abs, go do some abs or do 300 crunches on your own. That's a good number. Go get a cool down. I'm not going to cool down today because I got to get out of here. But definitely stretch the hips. I felt the inner leg lines, the inner thighs. So you could do a Baddha Konasana, a butterfly position. You could do a pigeon, a low lunge, anything to open up and expand the hip area and the legs. Definitely a half Hanuman, a half split, or a pyramid pose to open up the hamstrings because we did a lot of work. Stretching at the end will help you not be so sore. So make sure you get a few minutes of stretching at least, and obviously sleep, water, and movement later on today. If it's morning time where you are, just take a little walk tonight. And the next day, make sure even if you're sore, you are moving, you're getting those muscles activated, getting the blood flowing again. So if you're really sore, because I can tell that was a, per usual, looks like an easy workout, and then you do it and you're like, damn, I'm gonna be sore. So make sure that you're moving tomorrow so it doesn't feel too bad. Okay, but I feel like we did the job today. That was excellent. I got a sweat on, and I hope you enjoyed. I'll see you next time on the House of Chi.